Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Balls Out podcast. Happy Friday to everyone. I hope you're all doing well. We're here to preview the Fulham game on Sunday and to decipher whether or not last week's performance against Arsenal was just a blip or just a one-off, or whether it's going to be the start of something special. Delighted to say I'm joined by the Balls Out quiz champion for 2025. It's Mark Langridge. Mark, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm all good. I'm all good. It's been a awkward week, hot, cold weather. Can't make its mind up. Good old British weather. But apart from that, yeah, I'm ready to crack on with this and get into the Fulham game. And like you just said, was it a one-off?
Yeah, look, it'll remain to be seen. It'll remain to be seen. But look, before we look ahead to the Fulham game, we might just touch on a little bit of somewhat breaking news. Nothing concrete or solid, but a few reliable sources coming out today. Fabrizio Romano, Laurie Whitwell, and I think Jamie Jackson as well, coming out and saying that things are advancing quite positively with Lemons, the goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp. It looks like Man United are moving actively in that direction before we've seen any departures in the goalkeeping lounge. Myself, yourself, and Nathan had this discussion in the review for the Arsenal game last week about the goalkeeping situation. What do you make of this news coming out, and do you think it's linked directly with that performance last Sunday?
No, gee, I'd be really worried if we've gone back to panic buying. But
Mm,
we were linked with this keeper before Sunday. We were linked with this keeper about a month ago. Um, his stats are phenomenal. They make him one of the best goalkeepers in Europe.
mm-hmm,
Um, I have been on other shows and said that the problem with the stats are they're in the Belgium league, which if you compare the Belgium league to the Premier League, it's like playing Sunday league football. You know, he's making all these saves, but he's making saves from players that are very unlikely to score, where they're not your Sesco's, your Hoylands, your Salahs, people like that.
mm-hmm,
So, um, but he's young, isn't he?
mm-hmm.
So he's one for the future. But he looks like if he's coming in, he reminds me a little bit, and he's never going to be as good as, but Peter Schmeichel. He's
Okay.
ready to come in and be the number one. He's coming here to be the number one. But everyone says that, but physically, the way he plays football now, he commands his box, he commands his back line, and he's young. So that's only going to get better. So I'm a little bit excited. He's not my first choice. I would prefer Donnarumma because of the experience, or Martinez, or Ter Stegen. These are all unsettled goalkeepers, but I think are available, and probably not for much more money than what we're going to pay for this kid, because I think he's going to be somewhere between the 20 and 30 million range anyway. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Like, there's been a lot out there about him, but if you look at YouTube, you're just going to go, "Oh yeah, look, he looks great." Well,
Yeah.
they wouldn't put the howlers in the compilations, would they?
No,
So
no. Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't know much about him. Prior to when Man United were linked to them there earlier on in the summer, and I seen, like you said, some compilations. He looks like a big lad, even for 23 years of age, which is young for a goalkeeper. I've seen some comparisons with Thibaut Courtois, which is definitely a good thing. He was a very, very good goalkeeper.
is his nickname
Um,
Baby Courtois? That's
yeah,
his nickname.
yeah. So there's obviously some linkage there. What I like about the deal is that in comparison to previous number twos that we've brought in, that are just obviously number twos, this guy will be brought in as a number two, but with his age and his potential, he's a number two that has the potential to push our number one long term. Whereas previously, you look at Bayern there, he was always brought in as a number two. In the past, you had Romero, who was probably one of our best ever number twos, but ultimately that's all he was ever going to be. So I like the thoughts of this guy coming in as a so-called number two, but having the potential to put the pressure on Anna. And let's be honest, if he plays anyway consistently well, he would be our number one by the end of the season. And you're probably looking at a situation where Onana will be sold next summer, and we're looking for a prospective other number two then next summer who's a proper number two. So yeah, no, I'm excited, but I agree with you. I would like to see us take advantage of the goalkeeper market that's there, because you've got the likes of, as you said, Donnarumma, Diogo Costa, and Ebi Martinez available for transfer this summer,
And to Stegen from Barcelona, because
and Ter Stegen
he's
as
had a
well. Like,
falling out there.
so it's an unusual summer in that regard, and that you've got so many top level goalkeepers available, and we have a glaringly obvious gap there in the goalkeeping department. But look, I think this is where you've got to look at the Ineos factor and the long term planning factor and not overpaying on wage. I think if Ed Woodward was still in charge, the Donnarumma deal would already be done. He'd be sitting here on 400 grand a week. His agent would have got about 15 million signing on fee, and the deal would be done. But then this time next year, it could be an awkward situation where he's a problem in the dressing room. We can't get rid of him because of his wages, and we're back to square one again. So, like that, if Donnarumma or someone like that came in, I'd be happy. But equally, I'm happy to see that United are being proactive in the goalkeeping department. Full stop. Because, as I said, I think we all agreed there last Sunday that we can't finish this transfer window with Bayindir and Onana as our goalkeeping options.
See, that is the only concern for me. Is this is a 23-year-old? Yes, it might be 17 to 20 million euros
Yeah.
plus add-ons, but he's 23, so the experience is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some good young goalkeepers as it is already at the club.
That's
And
right. Yeah.
I don't like the idea of shutting the door on. He's just gone to Bristol City. Vitek.
Vitek, yeah, he's a good keeper.
I think he's phenomenal. Like
Mm.
I've been keeping an eye on some of his performances, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, you're going to make mistakes. That's why you're out on loan. But he's a year younger, I think, or 2 years younger.
Yeah, he's
So
21, I think. Yeah.
yeah, so it for me, it's sort of that awkward from the coaching side of things. Like, oh, well, if you bring in a young goalkeeper, you might as well sell this guy because we've already done that once with another goalkeeper, and he's gone on to start performing really well. He
Mm-hmm.
even won bloody European trophy. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things. We have to see what happens. So other people might come in for him if he's that highly rated. Other people might come in for him, but at the moment, all these transfer windows with with unless you were linked with Tottenham, which basically meant you'll go to any other club, or Newcastle, you're going to go to any other club. Most transfers seem to be just one team in now. I'm in for this player, they're going there, and it's a done deal. So I don't know. Maybe like me and you, we've got to get our heads around it. Transfers are changing. It's all done behind closed doors now. What
Mm-hmm.
would have been classed as tapping up is the done thing. Intermediaries, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, that's tapping up. That's against the FA rules. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, because no one's talking to the player.
Yeah.
The player can't barely talk anyway. Most footballers, we use Jamie Redknapp as the example. He ain't doing his talking for a contract negotiation, is he? So, evening, Nathan. Um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But he's not going to be in goal tomorrow. So I expect I would like Heaton to go in goal, but I expect him to continue with Bayindir after the defence he put in the post-match interview, because I thought he was going to take the reporter's head off when his eyes changed. Little bit of Roy Keane-esque in there in the eyes.
Yeah, we get to the preview in a few minutes. Just quickly, I know we were straight off the bat last Sunday after the Arsenal game. Obviously, we were all still very emotional. But have you had any with time to reflect now? Any other observations from the game on Sunday? I know there's been a lot of debate about that penalty that wasn't given for the tackle on Cunha by, I think it was Saliba or was it Gabriel? I can't quite remember who it was, but
Um,
any thoughts on that? I look back at it myself. You can see arguments for both sides, but it probably was just edging on the side of a penalty for myself personally.
if I was a defender, I'd be like, fuck, closing my eyes, hoping it's not going to be given, because I know I've
Mm-hmm.
made contact with nothing but his foot. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Sky Sports thing answered it all, didn't it? It was the whole with Dermot Gallagher. I don't want to say it's a penalty. I don't want to drop the ref in it,
Yeah.
but basically, if it's a foul anywhere else on the pitch, it should still be a foul in the box.
Yeah.
But that's what the world we've come to. For me, it was a Stonewall penalty. I thought it was at the time. I've never changed my view on it. I think it's a Stonewall soft penalty.
Yeah, I agree.
But there is contact on his foot before he even touches the ball to control
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So therefore, if that would be deemed a foul. So, um, but I'm not quite sure what is a foul these days and what isn't, because I've even seen straight reds not even been given as a free kick. So recently, yeah. But looking back at the game, the more I watched back clips, the more I was unhappy with certain things we did. But that's going to happen. This is what we mean by rebuild. Because if we look back, I don't want to use Klopp because everyone seems to be going to that. Oh, when Klopp came in and things weren't perfect. Let's look at Chelsea right now. Current world champions, bullshit.
Mhm.
But under Maresca, everyone wrote him off. He's had to change things. He's had to split the teams up. He's had to do things, and they're slowly improving.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't entirely say they've got a style of play. It seems a bit free flow at times. Sometimes it looks great, and sometimes you're
Yeah.
like, oh, fucking hell, they pulled that one out of the bag. Where did that come from? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think we're hard to break down. I think our midfield is shocking, but I don't want to just keep talking about the midfield. Amarin said some interesting stuff in his interview today about the midfield, about Kobe. But basically, he's saying later on in the season, we will need a different kind of midfield. So I don't know if he's alluding to Casemiro's not that fast. These players aren't as fit right now, so that's a good. And I know he's fit, but it's a good mix. Him a fit Casemiro in his late 30s, or going towards his late 30s against young, unfit 20-something players is a good balance. And Kobe comes in later on when he's fitter and learnt the role a little bit more in the six.
Yeah.
It's sort of the way I felt he implied. And I still can't get my head around not playing a striker until 20 minutes to go.
Mhm.
So, and we'll cover all that off later. There was some other stuff said about Rasmus today, and the bomb squad. Where this phrase of the bomb squad has come from, I don't know, but I quite like it because it is like a ticking time bomb for Man United.
Yeah, the bomb squad, 80% of which are still at the club, and we just can't shift. But yeah, it's
Yeah, but
it's
why
it's
would you? They've
yeah,
screwed themselves by their actions. So
yeah.
yeah, no, I don't know. Have you thought more about the game? Like, I think the pressing's going to be there, but I'm just more worried as they do it, they're going to get hurt. This
Well,
is
they
the
are
best way
going
to
to
put
get
it.
hurt. That's the thing because there are like we agreed on Sunday after the game that Arsenal had been quite negative. They'd scored early, so they were happy to sit back. But if you're playing against a team like a Liverpool or whatever, who are quite quick in the transition, Spurs are the same. If you're pressing high against a team like that and they beat your press and get through that midfield, you're in a whole world of trouble. And we've seen it in the past. A team like Liverpool could easily put 6 or 7 past you if you're persistent with a style of play that isn't working. So I'm not saying that'll happen. In fairness, Amarim has done quite well against the big teams since he's come in. We have looked a lot more defensively solid. I thought we looked really good defensively last week. It was the mistake that actually was obviously the that led to the goal. Defensively overall, we were actually quite good. I thought the Ligt. I look back again at some of the highlights from the game. I thought the Ligt was absolutely brilliant. It was definitely one of his best games in a Man United shirt. I thought he was really, really good. But again, that was playing against a striker that suited him. It was that old style number 9 one on one against a big centre back. If he's playing against a false nine who can drop deep and pull him out wide or whatever, it could be a different story. But look, we're going to deal with what we've seen so far. And yeah, no, I thought he was really, really good on Sunday. But just I was listening to a podcast. I was actually talking to the Devils there today, and they were mentioning the Believe deal again. They were chatting about Manu. Just to put a question to you now, if you had an offer to swap Baliba for Manu now, would you take it?
I would take it because I would sell Mainu because I see Mainu as the new age Nicky Butt. He's too good to be sat on our bench, so go play football somewhere else.
Hmm.
But I also see Belieber as a better player, and that's not a fair swap deal, so it wouldn't
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah,
It would be a swap for cash, everything.
yeah,
But Kobe Mainoo's a great player,
he is.
and if you're not going to play him, sell him because it's pure profit,
Yeah.
and bring in someone you are going to play, and then that pushes the player that you're currently playing, i.e., Casemiro, to the bench. So it's a win-win by selling. The only way people have jumped on the bandwagon now of this. Oh, he's a United prospect. He's he came through the academy. Blah de blah de blah. Look through our history and look at how many players we sell every fucking year from our academy.
Hmm.
You know, that are classed as academy graduates. Makeda, Giuseppe Rossi, people like this. They went on to have great careers.
Hmm.
Makeda saved our ass and then had a great career in Italy, wasn't it? I think
Yeah, with a few
Rossi,
different
Spain.
places. Yeah.
Um, and Garnacho, Mainu, these people, they've they've lived the dream. They played in the red of Manchester United, grown up there, and if it doesn't work out, go play football. Just go play football somewhere else. You could take that to your local side. Like I think everyone in the world's got mates who have. Oh, he's always played for this team, and then all of a sudden, a manager changes, and he ain't getting a look in. Well, do you stay there just to stay loyal, or do you go play football? Depends if you're getting paid money. And in Kobe's case, he's not really getting paid. He's on 50 grand a week. So
Mm.
wherever, if he moves, he gets more money and he gets game time, and he's got a World Cup coming up.
Yeah.
So I don't want him to leave. I
No.
just get that right. Same
Hmm.
as Bruno does my nut, and I think he's a world class player. I just want him to do what he's told.
Hmm.
Same as Garnacho. If he'd done what he's told, Jesus Christ, we'd have an amazing player.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, some footballers are just natural dickheads. They are. They are. The arrogance is there. You can't not be. Like you just when you've been around as many footballers as I have, it's a given that that arrogance is going to be there. Very few shy footballers
Yeah.
that are like gone to the top of their game.
Yeah, no,
So
I would be in the same ballpark as you. Like, I love Kobe Mano, and I wanted to work out so much for him. But at the same time, I don't want to see a situation where we're trying to force a player into a system that doesn't suit him when we could sell him and buy a player that does suit our system and improve the team overall. And that's why I keep having this debate about Bruno Fernandes and the bid we received in the summer. Bruno has been the best signing post Alex Ferguson without a shadow of a doubt. He is one of the best signings in Manchester United's history without a shadow of a doubt. He's our best player. He is world class on his day. He is in his own way a Man United legend. But you've got to look practically at the situation and not to keep harping on about it because it's gone now. We moved on. But like when you speak about the Bruno Fernandes situation this summer, the fact is you've got to look practically at that situation and the fact that we knew we were chasing two number 10s as our first choice signings, but yet turned down an 80 to 100 million pound offer for a player whose best position is the number 10, who turns 31 in September, and his best years, let's be honest, are probably behind him. So that's where you look at the situation practically. It's not dismissing Bruno Fernandes as a great player. It's not saying he doesn't have a place, but you've just got to look practically at this situation. And, I think Manu is a similar situation. We all wanted to work out so well, it still may work out, but you would have to say that the early signs in the first 9-10 months of Ruben Amorim being there, they don't look very positive for a long term place in a system for Kobe Manu.
no, but like just to quickly jump back to like the Bruno comment, the thing about the transfer and Mainu and Garnacho, if we took their names away and we took the club names away and just said, I had a football team, I have bought two number 10s, I'm going to play two number 10s.
Mm-hmm.
The player from last season who was playing number 10, I feel might be able to play in the 8, but I'm not going to play him in my 10. So if I can buy an 8, that player now has no space to go in the team. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he goes to the bench. Now, we all know, if we're all honest, a captain can't be dropped. Because what's the fuck? You don't make a cap unless it's been your club captain and he's played in the team, and then all of a sudden he comes out of the team after 10 years and he becomes club captain, and someone else wears the armband on the pitch.
Hmm.
But if we took Bruno's name away from him and Mainu's a bit graduate away from him from the academy, I'm pretty sure everyone makes the same decisions. He's not first choice in the role that is his position. He goes. So if we are buying a player in this case, Cunha and Burmo, Bruno becomes third choice 10. Mason Mount becomes fourth choice 10. Ahmad's somewhere maybe 3.5. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the goalkeeper we've just spoken about. He either comes in as the number one, or it is made clear to him that he's going to come in as a number two. But you're buying him from a team where he is currently number one. Why would he come sit on our bench? Would you want someone to come, go, yeah, I'll leave Antwerp and come, I'm playing adult football at 23 just to come sit on Man United's bench and not play? So if you buy now, when you're doing a rebuild, what you buy is what you play. And the player you're deeming replaceable goes to the bench.
Yeah.
So, but should we crack on with a preview?
Yeah, I think we better because we could do a whole show on the Bruno Fernandes situation. We'd be going around in circles all night. But look, yeah, look, we look ahead to it's Sunday, isn't the game? Is it Sunday? Is it
It is.
two
It's another
2 o'clock?
4:30 kickoff.
4:30 again. Okay. Yeah, I think it's gas. Where we spent all last season playing on Sunday because of the Europa League, and the 1 year we're not in the Europa League, we've played two Sunday matches already. But I just missed those Saturday 3 o'clock games. But yeah, overall, looking at Fulham, they snatched a draw last week against Brighton in the last minute of the game. I think I heard right on the radio today they haven't actually made a senior signing. I think the first team signing at all this summer. So you're dealing with the same squad that finished last year. Apparently, I was looking a bit on Twitter today, and there is a little bit of unrest towards the ownership, and it's not that it's a volatile situation. I think the manager definitely still has the support of the fans and whatnot behind, but it's definitely not a happy camp there as far as the fans and that would be concerned. So, what are you expecting overall from Fulham on Sunday?
Um, well, Marco Silva, I think, is a very, very good manager.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's really good.
so the fact Fulham haven't changed their team, there are two enforced changes. Their first choice left back and right back are out injured
Okay.
and not expected to be back yet. What is it? Not Semenyo, is it? Something very similar to Semenyo, I'm sure it is. And Robertson as a left back, who, funny
Yeah,
enough, was a player I wanted before we signed Dorgan.
yeah, he's a
Uh,
good.
yeah, it's Sessegnon. Where they've been using Calvin Bassey, who is an absolute unit. He's a
Yeah,
bit like defensive version of Tororo. Um, I am expecting. I'm expecting them to play on the counter, be hard to break down, probably play like 5-4-1 and counter against us, which is worked pretty well from twice last season. Worked well for them the season before that. Um, Obviously, they got Iwobi and Jimenez up front, and Joshua King as well. And you're like, Jesus Christ, they got some goals there, and they got some people who really don't like Manchester United.
hmm,
So their centre midfield is what worries me. Yeah, in Sunderbird,
yeah,
he's a very, very good player. It'd be interesting to see how we control that. But we touched on it at the start. It's more about I want to stop focusing on the other teams on previews. Like,
yeah,
obviously, you got to do it, but as a Man United fan, I'm like, no, it's about what we do on the pitch. How are they going to defend against our three brand new attackers? Who's going to be our right wing back? How are we going to take the game to them? Because that's what I saw last week. So if Fulham are going to play 5-4-1, I put it to you: can we break that down this season? Because the last 3 seasons, we've struggled to break down
Mhm.
deep lie blocks, and it just falls to one person, roughly constantly outside the box, be it a Bruno, a Ugarte, and they hit a 35-yard shot high, wide, and handsome. Instead of actually trying to penetrate.
I think the difference, and I hope I'm right when I say this, the last few seasons, I do agree with you, we've massively struggled with low blocks, going back to as far as Ollie been in charge. But the key to breaking down a low block with a lot of men behind is to move the ball quickly. And that's something that we have been probably the worst team in the Premier League for doing the
Oh yeah,
last 5 6 seasons. I even we were even worse than Southampton doing that last year. They nearly caused a massive upset of at Old Trafford because they simply moved the ball quick and were direct, and we were fucking about with the ball too much and overthinking things. Whereas I looked last week and we were winning the ball and we were fucking gone. Cunha was gone and Buemo was
62%
gone.
possession. We
Yeah,
haven't
that's
had
what I
that
mean. We
against
were
the top
we were
teams.
keeping the ball and we were using it, and like I worried massively about that midfield that Arsenal have with Rice and Odegaard and Zubimendi in there now as well. But they dominated initially, but Man United got a grasp of that then, and they were nowhere to be seen then. So you mentioned the midfield there in Sander Berg. He caused us some massive problems last year. So I'd like to think that we can counteract that with our that overall ball winning ability. It's not just that 2 man midfield, it's the aggression that Cunha brings and Buemo brings. It almost becomes a 6 man United midfield at times. Then it transforms into that kind of quick counter direct, quick direct diagonal ball from the fullbacks. And, you know, as you said, I completely agree with you. We've got to start looking at how we cause the opposition problems rather than what problems the opposition are going to cause us. Now, last Sunday, I did somewhat understand Dallo starting ahead of Ahmad because Arsenal do have attacking players that can hurt you. But I would
Yeah,
like to see us go full attack mode on Sunday. Start Ahmad, start Mbuemo, start Seshko, start Dortmund, and just go at them. Because we've got to start looking at this now and thinking we've got a better attack. Okay, we might concede goals and we're going to concede goals. But we can outscore most teams in the Premier League with that forward line now. And the statistics suggest that. So yeah, I agree with you. I think we've got to start backing ourselves rather than worrying about the opposition.
yeah. No. Sesko to start.
I think he has to.
I think he should have started against Arsenal. I was on the show last week and said that I believe that any Premier League footballer should be able to play 45 minutes, even in
Mm-hmm.
pre-season, right? Because that's normally what you see, isn't it? First pre-season friendly, 45 minutes, and they're off.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he should have started. I'm definitely on record thinking we should have Rasmus as his replacement on the bench, but that seems not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even use Xerxes, so it says to me neither are fit enough to play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, got a feel for Mason Mount, I think, because to bring Xerxes in, it's surely well, it's between Mason Mount or Bruno who gets dropped, and we all know which one of those two is going to get picked. So.
Yeah.
Um, I thought Mason Mount had a great game against Arsenal, and the thing he did for us was he led the press. It was his intelligence of
Mm-hmm.
cutting the passing angles off, but enabled, as you just said, we were winning that ball high up the pitch and turning it
Mm-hmm.
back. It is going to go wrong, and unfortunately, when you press high, it takes one wrong person to either react slow or just not react. Um, so yeah, what do you think about that? I think it's going to be Sesko and Burmo and well, first off, do you think we're playing 4-3-3 now? 3-4-3? Because it certainly started to look that way at the start of the other game. Because there was a false nine rather than one up top.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
it definitely looks. Yeah, it looks more like a 3-4-3, and that makes sense when you think of it because if you're bringing in Sheshko, Mbuemo, and Cunha, you want them as far up the field as possible as that attacking front three. I think it definitely will fluctuate throughout games, but I think it's definitely more a 3-4-3 um, than anything else. And I think that's what we've seen work best for Amorim at
yeah,
Sporting Lisbon. So it makes sense that that's what it's going to look like long term. As far as Mason Mount is concerned, if he gets back to the fitness levels he did in his prime at Chelsea, he's a player that could play anywhere in this system outside the centre back positions. Like he could play as a wing back there because I know he suffered with injuries the last couple of years, but when Mount is fit, he's got an engine. He can play game after game. Like the year Chelsea won the Champions League,
He played
I
every game, didn't he? He didn't
he
miss a
did.
game.
He played about 65 games that season, something along those lines. He played a massive amount of games that season.
Yeah,
I
I
think
remember.
that, and if I'm not mistaken, that was 2021. They won the Champions League. It was the COVID years behind closed doors, I think, against Man
Yeah.
City, and that was the year that the deferred Euro 2020 took place. So I think he played for England again in that tournament as well that summer. So Mount has an engine, and Amram has references that he thinks he can play deep as well. So if it's a choice between him or Bruno playing in one of those deep line midfield positions, I'd rather have Mount purely because he's got the engine to get back if a mistake is made.
Agreed.
Look, he might not have the range of passing that Bruno has, but he can certainly get about a lot better, and he would certainly be a better player to have next to Casemiro in a two-man midfield than the likes of a Bruno, because Bruno, for all his positives, he's not renowned for running. He'll try and he'll try and he'll try, but he never had pace and he was never very agile. But yeah, like I said, even I'd go so far as to say if we were stuck and we became a bit stuck in it from an injury point of view, he could definitely play in one of those wing back positions. I don't think any doubt. I think he's just technically a very good footballer, and I think a lot of people earmarked that he was someone that would suit this Amarim system very well when Amarim got the job. And I know he's had his injury concerns and injury issues since he signed, but that was another reason why I was so shocked that we invested so much money in 210s when we had so much options in that area. Now, look, I'm not saying Mount has the same qualities as Cunha and Buemo, but we did have the numbers there, and he's clearly someone that Amarim likes.
So you talk about numbers. There's two types of numbers there. Well, three, technically, because I was just about to say a number. So you're talking about the number 10 role,
Hmm.
and you go Ahmad, Mount, Bruno, as our, well, and we put Garnacho from last season, right? They were the four tens we had. But now we add it, we'll take Garnacho out because he's been frozen out of the team.
Yeah.
And you go Bruno and then Burmo. And as I just said about 10 minutes ago, we bought them so they start. Um, and then you add in someone like Xerxes, who most of
Mhm.
us say is like a 9.5, an 8.5. He's basically some form of 10, but not a striker. Or like a less attacking, what was his name from Everton? I just called Sideshow Bob. I can't think what his name.
Delaney.
Fellaini. Fellaini. But Bruno is our penalty taker, and we keep talking about goals from these three up front. And my biggest fear is a lot of people aren't taking into account they won't be taking penalties this year. Even if it's just 3 or 4 penalties in a season, that can change you from being double figures to apparently, 10 to 12 goals is a good season for Man United because we ain't been scoring goals. But if
Yeah.
you haven't got the penalties and that drops to 8 or 9 goals, all of a sudden we're having a pop at them. So I think that's commonly missed about set pieces. For with Bruno taking all the penalties currently, we have to be aware that we're not. None of those three strikers are prolific game time scorers. Our
Hmm.
most prolific person at scoring goals was actually Ahmad last season.
Yeah.
And is he going to play right wing back?
I think he has to, doesn't he? Because he's not going to get into that right number 10 position with Mbuemo there cutting in his left foot. So,
Yeah. I think I would like to see, maybe not against Fulham, maybe in the next match. We'll see how this game goes. I know we're only previewing the Fulham game, but I would like to see Dorgu on the right, and I would like to see Diego Leon put on the left. Just against, a Brentford, Southampton would have been great from last year because we got to blood him into the Premier League, right? So we need to give him game time. I thought Dallo, and I have done for a while, it was horrendous. I thought he had a horrendous pre-season, and he did absolutely nothing for us while he was on the pitch on Sunday. But Ahmad in that wing-back position when he came on, did he play wing-back or did he play right-sided 10 with Mbermo holding hands? Because
Yeah,
most of the second
yeah,
half, they were very close together to the point where he actually tackled him. So,
yeah. Well, that's what would you say, a relationship that's going to have to work itself out there. It could be a case of, I'm not saying I want to see Mbuemo tracking up and down that right hand side, but it could be a case that they intermittently switch in game, in the sense that one moment Mbuemo is the obvious number 10, Ahmad pushes up the field, and all of a sudden it's Mbuemo tracking back, and he sits there for 5 minutes or so. And like, it's a good problem to have, in the sense that it just keeps the opposition defenses thinking, to have that versatility. But
well,
I
he
think,
wants high wing-backs, doesn't he?
yeah, he does.
Because
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we're talking about on the opposite side. Dorgu has been playing very high and has
Hmm.
been very dangerous to the point of I'm not sure he can make that 70-yard sprint if there's a counter on, i.e.,
Hmm.
especially against someone like Salah on that side,
Yeah.
when we play Liverpool. Um, but you mentioned about speed of play. Now, we've got two players who put their foot on the ball constantly, and that is Dallo is one of those players.
Hmm.
Uh, that's another reason why I wouldn't have him. But the other person is Ahmad. If you get it, the amount of times he tries to, because he wants to take someone on, he'll try and face them up, and he slows it down. So I think we need a little bit more change in his game. I don't know what you think. Like against Fulham, what I would like to see him doing, because it's a second choice left back and it's a big, strong player. You don't want to be trying to get in a tussle, slowing him down, letting him get in close to you. You need to be using your pace. You need a
Hmm.
little trick, a little like flip flap or something like that. Just knock the ball, Rashford start and go past him like Rashford was doing like 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Because if they are stronger than you, they're only going to foul you if you're off balance running.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, there's a few. These are the sort of things when you go Arsenal, everyone's up for it. Fulham, well, it's Fulham, isn't it? It's that mentality we've had probably for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, that brings you to my next point, was that the whole, we commended them last week because, okay, we lost, but we played as well as we've seen them play for a long, long time, and that intensity was there. But we've seen them get up for big games before. I mean, they drew 2-2 at Anfield last season, and probably should have won. It was probably their best performance under Amarim. And the following week, I can't remember who we played, and it was just back down flat again. And the thing that concerns me is that, okay, it was opening day, it was at home, it's against Arsenal, one of your bitter rivals, a chance to put a marker out early on the season. They played well, they get the moral victory, and then next week it's like, it's Fulham, we just have to show up and we're going to win. They believe the hype. That's not going to happen. This
Well, do they
isn't.
believe the manager? Because that's what the manager said after
Mm,
that really weird comment. Um, Heard it live, so it wasn't taken out of context or anything like that. It was, well, after that loss, I believe we can beat anyone. We
mhm.
lost, so we obviously can't beat Arsenal. Yes, we lost to a dodgy goal.
Yeah.
Uh, but goalkeeper should have been stronger. But I
Mhm.
can understand it. In my eyes, still should have been a foul because of Mason Mount, not because of
Yeah.
the goalkeeper. But Mason Mount was the one who made the mistake by being the wrong side of his player. But if you take that out of it, he had one save to make all game.
And his distribution was very good, to be fair to him. I thought his distribution was very, very good.
Most
His,
of the time
his
it was. There was a few dodgy ones where
Yeah,
you
there
could
was.
clearly see it was a miss kick, but it was a miss kick, and we managed to make something out of it
Yeah.
instead of no. But what I mean is, instead of standing still watching it, we kept it in play,
We reacted
or
to it.
actually
We
there was that
reacted.
one where Bruno pulls the ball out of the sky, fucking world class touch.
Mhm.
Leg right up and just kills it down dead, and then
Yeah.
Cunha spun away from
Yeah.
that one little
Yeah.
touch. Cunha spins. Um, But we drove players back in the Arsenal game a lot by us running at them. That's the Manchester way.
Yeah.
Get the ball, get on the attack. That's like Sam Allardyce, best form of attack, defense is attack, right? You know, if the
Mm.
ball's up the other end of the pitch, you ain't got to worry about it going in your goal.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Yeah. And to be fair, in Amarim's defense with those comments, I do remember now that he did say that, but I would agree with him in the sense that if we do bring that intensity and that aggression and we create 22 shots against Arsenal, I believe that if we create that many chances on Sunday, we play with that intensity, we definitely have enough to beat Fulham and to beat them by a couple of goals. Definitely. And that's not disrespecting Fulham, but with the players that we've signed, with the players we have available now, we should be beating Fulham on Sunday. And my concern would be if we do play well again and we happen to get not necessarily from a goalkeeping mistake, but if we do get caught again and lose, having been the better team, does it demoralize this group who've already proven that they're weak minded? Does it demoralize them to the point that they're like, well, we're working this hard, we believe in the manager's system, but it's just not working. So they suddenly start not believing again, and all of a sudden we see a very, very sharp decline.
um, that's a really good point. Um, but you got to remember, this isn't the team from last year.
No, true.
So what I mean by that is obviously straight away the front three is different. So that's a third of the team positionally. The goalkeeper's currently different.
Yeah.
Euro is now starting matches, you
Mm-hmm.
know, from injury, things like that, and he's doing okay. Let's touch wood on that. He's doing okay. Um, but there's my biggest fear is why we overran Arsenal. I said last week I think Supermendy will flop. I do not think he's suited to the Premier League. That does not. I think I'm not saying Supermendy is a bad player,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't think he's going to work. I think Declan Rice and Odegaard were trying something different, and that didn't work. And actually, that's why we overran the midfield, because they did a Man United and left Supermendy with Mbermo and Cunha either side of him, going, "Which one do I fucking mark?" Like that, like which one do I go for? And you know, Casemiro was probably putting his arm around him, walking off. Oh, I did this a couple of years ago. I know how you feel. Um, and Arsenal didn't look fit. They haven't looked fit all pre-season.
No.
Um, so it's those sides of things, and I think that's what Manchester United has done to us as fans.
Mm-hmm.
We see one thing and we can't believe what our eyes, because we're like, well, hang on, we're running all around the pitch. It must be because the other team wasn't fit,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
because we're
Sure.
doing well.
Yeah.
You said about the 20 shots. Now, Raya made 5 saves and got man of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we had 5 shots on target, 5 saves. So the other 15 shots, that's last season.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to cut out, because a shot doesn't register if it's a cutback, you know. And it wasn't 5 shots on target and not 15 shots off target. You get your block shots, so your XG. It wasn't that. We all saw Ugarte's, and people started laying into Ugarte when he hit one, which you probably thought was going to go out for a throw in. But there was other people having those pot shots.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I want to see gone against Fulham. I want to see we're playing someone in. The overlaps were there. We spoke about in the first half last week. Dalot overlaps. He goes to pull the ball back, and he's got to pull it all the way back to the edge of the 18-yard box because no one was in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the Sesko thing. But Sesko's going to be up against a very good centre back, someone I rate very highly in Anderson, the former Crystal Palace centre back that went,
Yeah. Yeah.
moved to Fulham last year. Didn't really want to go there, but I would have had him at Man United. I rate him very highly, very physical, can use left and right foot, ping 40, 50-yard balls. It'd actually suit our system really well in how we do the diagonals. But not a player you want Sesko necessarily to have his first game against.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you might as well go, all right, Sesko, your first game's Liverpool and you're up against Van Dijk. You know, it's There's certain centre backs who have got the skill set to stop him, who are strong in the air, physically strong, and I believe still quite quick.
Hmm.
But they're also smart. They don't let you get a run because they're niggling at you. They're standing on your Achilles, or you got to make a run and they've already clipped your boot, so therefore your boot comes off.
Yeah.
He's that kind of player. But it's I'm trying to think how to phrase it. Is it the tactics or is it the players shooting from constantly outside the box that is actually Man United's biggest problem? Because if people are taking shots, we don't know if people are in the right position.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
we've got patterns of play and we break from the halfway line and we get an overlap and it gets put in the box and the striker misses it, then yeah, okay, I can see what we were trying to do. We've done that 5, 6, 7 times in the game. Strikers hit him high wide. He might not have got on the end of it, but that's a pattern. But when people are dribbling with the ball and then just trying to let fly from outside the box, as a coach, you know damn well that's got nothing to do with anything you're coaching. And when you've had 15 shots off target, who is turning around and saying, "Wait, pass the fucking ball"?
Mm.
Because the most important thing in football is that we move that ball around. And that's probably, I don't know, if I was to give you one thing to focus on, that's my focus for this game. We play the same way, same intensity, but I want to see shots inside the box.
Yeah.
So,
We need
what would be your big thing?
we need to see goals. It's simple as that. I think if we'd have lost even last Sunday 2-1 or 3-2 and played the way we played, it would have took a little bit more zing off the fact that we didn't score again. As well as we played, it was another nil. We didn't score.
Yeah,
If we'd have lost and even Cunha had scored, or Ahmad come off the bench and scored, and we'd lost 2-1, okay, we still lost. It still stung, but you're scoring a goal. You're creating something. You're getting something. That's what I want to see on Sunday. Obviously, I hope we win, and I think we've got enough to win. But I would rather us say draw 2-2 than draw 0-0 again. Like I want to see
the ball's
goals.
got to go in the net. Yeah,
Yeah, this is the
hopefully.
thing, and it's not just from a fan's point of view. It's the players as well. They need confidence. They need, as you were saying there, about patterns of play. If we score a couple of goals on Sunday from something they've worked intensely on for the last few weeks, that builds confidence. That's the players saying, right, this guy knows what he's talking about. This is working. They buy into it and they keep doing it, and eventually, then you're scoring goals and you're not conceding on the other end, and the system starts to work. So I think the players need it as well as just wanting it and needing the result. I think the players individually and as a team need to start scoring goals. That's what I want to see on
You
the
can walk
Sunday.
onto the team with onto the pitch with belief. This is what I believe you're
Yeah,
trying to say. You
yeah,
believe you're going out there to win, but when
yeah,
you pull something off that's works on the training pitch, i.e., a corner routine, a
yeah,
free kick routine, or even my favourite, when the striker steps over the ball instead of taking it and leaves someone a tap in on the far post,
yeah.
because there was a key word which basically meant I've got a tap in. Let it go. That buzz you get from that as
Mhm.
a team is like, yes, it
Yeah,
worked. It's
yeah.
almost like scoring that weldy.
It
It's that
is.
kind of
Yeah,
it's that kind of buzz.
yeah,
Um, in the chat here, there was a thing about Dorgu's shot accuracy.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
like to address the fact I do not be expecting our wing backs to bloody shoot. They're there to create chances. They are their wide attacking player once they are in the final third, and that ball should be in the box to at least 4 Man United shirts.
Mm.
So I just want to come back on that. Like you are right, Dorgu. If he's a defender, I expect him to have a shooting accuracy. I know we were
Yeah,
lucky once, but we had the almighty Dennis Irwin. But
yeah.
he's not. But Dorgu is not Irwin. He's not Roberto Carlos. He's not Maldini. With
Not
these
yet. Not
not
yet.
yet, but he's young as well, and
Yeah,
he
he's
is
only
changing.
21.
He's
Yeah,
changing his game, isn't he? So
yeah.
he
Physical
wasn't a
player.
wing back.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's you're right. I would rather. I can't say I want to lose and score. So if we lost 4-3, again with Walkoff going right, we scored 3 goals. are we now a little bit more open? That's going to ask more questions, right?
Mm.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're scoring goals, but we left ourselves open, conceded 4.
Mm.
2-2 draw, 3-3. As long as it's not penalties or set pieces, happy
Yeah.
day for scoring goals.
Yeah.
Um, it's age old thing, isn't it? Are we talking about looking for performance over? We said that last week.
Yeah.
No, we get a performance. So actually, in a way, I suppose this week's having the same performance is better because they're not a top side. They're
Yeah.
not one of the top 4. They're not Man City, who we beat the last couple of years. It's not Liverpool, who we didn't lose to. It's not beating Arsenal. It's about. I always ripped it out of Liverpool fans. They would always go and beat Man United and then lose the team bottom of the league the following week. And I don't want to become that team.
No.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So starting 11 then for Sunday. What do you think? Did there be much changes then from last week?
I think. Well, we'll do it from the manager's point of view because my starting 11 would obviously have a few changes. I think Deer starts in goal.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer Heaton. I think if he did that, then that actually sends an even stronger signal.
Yeah.
Deer, you fucked up, you're dropped. Anana, you're a pain in my ass, you're dropped.
Mm.
Heaton,
Yeah.
or if he went me, Jesus, I'd probably piss my pants. Put the youngster in. I think back 3 stays the same. I
Yeah.
thought the
I
back
agree.
3 was immense and
They
done
were
their
good.
job right.
Yeah.
Um, I think I thought Casemiro was one of our best players.
You was good. Yeah.
I saw a glimpse of the Real Madrid Casemiro. Um, I know people were whinging about his passing, like clipping it in behind. That's clearly a tactic because Bruno was doing it as well. So it'll be those 2 in midfield. I think Mount's dropped and Sesko goes up front with Bruno and Cunha slightly behind. And yeah, Dorgu, like I said, in my mind, Dorgu should be on the right and we play Leon maybe in this game or maybe the next game. But I believe he'll go with Ahmad. I think he'll start Ahmad.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Dorgu keeps his place on the left.
Yeah.
Um, the only we know of only 2 injured players. Martinez is still is training, but
Yeah.
not ready.
Ready.
And yeah, so he's got a full team to pick from. 2 games in a row, full team.
Yeah.
Whole of pre-season, full team.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Something definitely seems to be changing in that injury department. Like, I mean, even in pre-season, normally the first game you'd see players playing 45 minutes a half. He kind of pushed it to an hour for some players. There was definitely changes there.
you would have
Uh,
65 subs, wouldn't you? Like you say, like 60
yeah,
minutes, 3 subs, maybe 75. The other 2
mm,
come on.
yeah, yeah. I would agree. I think the only 2 changes we're going to see on Sunday will be Ahmad for Dallo and Sheshko in for Mount. I think that'll be it. I'll be shocked if there's anyone else. I agree with you. I think I would like to see Heaton come in, but I don't think Amarim will do it purely based on the fact that it would create an unnecessary bombshell. And after the question he got from Samuel Luckhurst
Like,
last Sunday,
yeah, and he
uh,
defended Bayern
yeah,
Deer, so
and
that's
yeah,
why I think
and he defended him so ferociously, which was really refreshing. I love that, by the way, to see that. I don't think he's going to defend a player that vehemently and then drop him within the space of a week, having not played a game. So I think he will stick with Bayern there for this game. But yeah, no, I couldn't say any more wholesale. I hope we see Xerxes for a few minutes on Sunday. I think it'll depend on how the result is going.
yeah,
But
agreed.
I would
Well,
like to see.
either way, Xerxes got to get on the pitch. I'd like to just, Naomi, I don't know if you heard me saying, like, it's not that I want to drop Mount, but um, Sesko's, I believe, is going to start, and I believe it can only be 2 players that leave the pitch, and it would be either Mount or Bruno,
Yeah,
because I
and then
thought
King
Casemiro
Bruno.
had done his job, and as a defensive midfielder, he would be the one.
Yeah,
Jonathan touched that he would like to see Mount put back in that 8 position, and Bruno potentially come off the pitch. we want him on the pitch, but how do we fit him in with Sesko? Do we drop Cunha? Do we drop Mbermo?
Mm.
There's a way of doing it. There is a way of doing it, and we could be totally wrong. And Mbermo goes out to the right wing, plays right wing back. Mount drops into the 10. Sesko can come in up front. The only I will say now, I don't expect that to happen because I believe Mbermo and Cunha are working on their link up play for the 10 roles, and he doesn't want to be going, well, if you've got to play this up front, you've got to play this in the 10, and you've got to play this as a right wing back.
Yeah,
Although they have more time on the training pitch, and he has done that, I just don't think he would go with it yet.
yeah. So just before we finish up, then score prediction and first goal scorer then on Sunday.
Um, I'm going 3-0 to us,
Ooh,
and I am going for the entire front three to get one apiece in Sesko, Cunha, and Mbermo. If
interesting.
they do that, I will be on top of the world. I think we're actually quite solid defensively, and I think
I
that's where
agree.
you start all your work as a coach
Hmm.
in football. It's age-old saying, but you win games by not conceding goals first. So you work on
Yeah,
the defence and you build up. And over the last 8 to 10 months, we've gone solid defence. Midfield's got better. We can't score goals, and now we've brought in the players to score the goals.
yeah, yeah. I think I'd love to win 3-0. I just don't have the same confidence. I think it'll be 2-1. I think we'll go 1-0 up. I think Fulham will equalise, and I think Mason Mount will come off the bench and score the winner. But I would like to see one of the forward line. I'd like to see Sheshko and Buemo or Cunha score for their confidence on Sunday, just to break that duck. Um,
Like I'm going with the fact they're frail. Their defensive lineup isn't what it should be. They
yeah,
haven't bought
I agree. Yeah,
anyway to strengthen it.
yeah.
Um, and the only one player that really worries me out of their team, and I'm not sure if he started, but Smith Rowe. Smith
Oh
Rowe
yeah.
is such a hot and cold player. 1 minute he's superb, the next minute he does nothing in the game. That's why I don't think his Arsenal career worked out. But Iwobi's got a good thing against us. Josh King is quite physical and quick. So
Hmm.
they'll be looking to counter attack us. That's what I said. 5-4-1, and Raul Jimenez will be laying the ball off and for the Iwobi or Josh King to get past us.
Hmm.
And in my starting lineup expected for Fulham, Smith Rowe's still technically on the bench. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We shall see. We shall see.
I
Look,
like
lads,
that. You can see what I saw. The keeper's a 1 goal handicap.
yeah,
It's so true. It's so true. Whoever we put in goal, we all think, well, we've got to concede one.
it's true. So we just need to score two in every game. Look, we leave it there. We leave it there for now. Look, we're back on Sunday evening for the review of the Fulham game. Mark, I think you're on that show as well, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, I think Nathan has
Sunday
a couple of
night.
other guests lined up as well. Look, hopefully you're looking back on a victory. I'm sure Nathan will probably look ahead to the Grimsby game again, which is scheduled in for Wednesday now. Because I doubt we'll have a preview show before that one, but I'm sure you'll have a quick look ahead to that Grimsby game as well. So, yeah, look, exciting times ahead. 3 games in a week next week, so we'll be spoiled. But look, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for everyone for getting involved in the comments. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter and all the socials. And if you do want to get involved in the channel, please do reach out to us on Twitter in the comments down below. Someone will be in touch. But look, for now, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Take care, guys.